Hello everyone, welcome to the ProPokeBowl podcast. My name is ProPokeBowl, and he's back! AmaGamma is back with me. He's back.
I'm not dead.
You're not. He also did not retire.
My house didn't burn down.
Yeah. You have to bring that up. I don't want to know about your arson experiences on my podcast.
Hey, it wasn't arson. The plug caught on fire itself, alright? It's not like I told it to do that.
There you go. That's what matters. You didn't play with fire. Fire wanted to play with you.
Exactly.
This is the ProPokeBowl Season 5 Week 2 discussion episode. We'll be talking about all the battles we saw in Week 2, and then we're going to be looking towards the bans and trades that happened in Week 3 and what we can expect from our featured matchup.
Amazing.
Our featured matchup of the week, as well as anything else. It's still too early to look at points implications and things like that. The most that we could talk about at this time is expectations that are being met, as well as patterns that are occurring. You ready, Gamma?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I feel like I'm just doing the Queen thing where, you know, like, goes, ready, Freddy? Like that thing. That's just what I feel like I have to do every single episode. I don't know, because I can see that you're ready. I just have to ask, and I don't know why.
Oh, I'm super ready. I'm ready to speedrun this.
Jacked? Yeah, we actually have to do like a quick speedrun of all battles percent podcasting, so you thought it was weird that we wanted to speedrun typing. Yeah, watch this, speedrun podcasting. First matchup of the week, Manchester Manectric versus I Am Groot. This was the featured matchup, and it was a doozy. It was actually a very, very good series. Looked okay for a while. And then we went back and looked at the numbers, and then we had more and more questions. However, it was a 2-0 in Sweet D's favor of I Am Groot. I said I would say the coaches more with the teams. So, you know, Coach Sweet D for I Am Groot, Ivan, coach of Manchester Manectric. Gamma, what was your hot take on this battle?
It was a big battle. It was a big battle. It was a good battle. I enjoyed watching it. I was excited. There was a lot of twists and turns, but mostly ended up going into Mr. Sweet D's favor. Especially, I think this was more based off what everybody had in their movesets and whatnot. This match was very important this time.
Yeah, what Ivan, as we mentioned, Ivan brings certain moves to make sense for certain things that we might kind of scratch our heads at, but what he brought this time wasn't actually the problem. I think it was more about an execution when it came down to the two losses, and that's not taking away from the fantastic series that he had. There were a couple of crucial mistakes or misplays that came out and really gave Sweet D the advantage faster than what he was already earning. So we're not talking about this enormous blowout and, you know, Sweet D was just destroying Ivan. Game 2 looked a little better once he started getting more knowledge, because we saw some things from Sweet D that were throwing him off, such as the Protect on Suicune with the Calm Mind Scald set.
Oh, yeah.
But then we also saw other answers, such as the Gracium Z on the Galvantula and the Grass Knot on Mienshao to try and cover that Suicune, because it really did come down to trying to stop those two Pokemon, like I mentioned last week, the Terrakion and the Suicune, from doing things, and in the end, they actually ended up doing things. So once he got the advantage and got those Pokemon in safely, that's when he started to have to worry. Now, we ran some damage calcs, and so here's the thing that I think about with this whole, like, the whole moveset construction. I want your feedback on this, Gamma. So, first of all, we had massive, not question marks, but we had, I guess, hindsight concerns with a couple of things on the Galvantula. Bring us through that, Gamma.
All right. Well, first off, not to be mean or anything, I'm severely disappointed in how shafted Galvantula got. It just couldn't do anything in these battles.
Not to be mean, but it was trash. Thanks, Gamma. That's
it's sad
super
because
nice
it's a great Pokemon. That's the thing. Like, it's just sad seeing how fast it went out of the mix. But the one glaring issue, which Noob is very very prominent about, is the fact that it was running Compound Eyes and it didn't have Thunder instead of Thunderbolt. That base 30 damage means a lot. Just saying, in hindsight.
So yeah, it's difficult to just shout that out to an extent, because The idea behind Thunderbolt is if you look at the team that Sweet D brought, the Thunderbolt's going to hit the Mandibuzz, it's going to hit the Suicune. That's all he cares about. He's going to always hit the Lycanroc, the Terrakiոն's always going to get hit, because in the end, because he's running a Z Crystal, we're not running Life Orb, so we're going to miss kills no matter what, right? If we're running Z Crystal with Thunderbolt, we're going for damage, we're not going for the kill. Like an executing amount of kill from 75% or something like that.
No, yeah.
However, I do think there was a slight oversight, just a slight one, when it came down to what happens when Suicune actually sets up. Because here's the damage calc. If Galvantula hits, it's 252, his special attack, timid. First of all, right? It's timid. So hitting this Suicune, which actually was max HP and mostly speed, which I think I don't remember if it runs speed or it usually runs defense, because I think it's supposed to run defense to be more of the bulky one, but it usually does that with Rest Talk. So, because it could burn the physically defensive Pokemon and set up the special defense to be safe, right? But he ran speed instead, which actually I think caught Ivan off a couple of times, because outsped some of the Pokemon. Wait a minute, what do you mean it's outsped some of this Pokemon? That doesn't look right. But nonetheless, I don't remember about speed ever being run on Suicune. I think that's a special thing he did. But with Timid Thunderbolt, it did 50 to 60%. So it's a 2-hit KO. That's great. The issue is, if he was expecting Rest Talk, if he just set up and started rolling Calm Minds and kept it safe enough, it's still gonna, he's still gonna do enough damage if Suicune and Galvantula get alone time. Obviously, Sweet D's not gonna let that happen. He's got Lycanroc, he's got Terrakion, he's got, he's got Blissey. I'm pretty sure he has another wall. He has all these Pokemon that are gonna go against Galvantula. So what Galvantula had wasn't questionable, because it had a direct goal. It's I get in on Suicune and I win, right? I get in on Mandibuzz and I just do the damage. It's a 2-hit KO unless he heals, and we go from there, right? Because it's never, as long as it's on the defense going for rest, theoretically, it would be fine. Same thing with the Mienshao. It's got the Grass Knot. If it goes on offense, it's a 3-hit KO on the Suicune with Grass Knot. High Jump Kick's a 2-hit KO. Bringing Protect on that moveset completely threw him off the edge, and on top of that, the amount of damage that Scald does to Mienshao actually brings in a range to die to 1 to 2 Scalds. So, and with Burn, it would make it even worse. So the Thunderbolt's not bad. The issue that I have is what he played around with that Z Crystal. Because the Z Crystal was designed to kill the Suicune or the Hippowdon. I'm assuming that's what he's going for, or any of these Pokemon, Lycanroc, Terrakion. It's going to take him on Gastrodon, right? These Pokemon that will probably still die to an Energy Ball stock, or just take a lot of damage from Energy stock, and that's what I want to see. So Energy Ball to a Suicune did 34 to 40%, right? So that's not enough. Jack it up to a Z Crystal, it's doing 66 to 78, right? That's against the Suicune. If we look at the Hippowdon getting hit by Energy Ball is 45 to 53. Going to a Z Crystal, it's 88 to 104.
So there's a small chance that it would one-shot.
So there is a small chance that it would have one-shot. But my question is, knowing that outside, because, okay, we know Earthquake does a lot back, right? So there were times where the crit sucked, right? We did see that crit on the Galvantula, and crit plus Sand took out that Galvantula. And really, Galvantula both times just got really unfortunately one-shot, and we didn't really get to see it do anything. So it's tough to talk about that. However, you do have to question, what happens if he had just made this modest, right? If you're going to go for these guaranteed things, and he's going to outspeed the Pokemon he wants to kill anyways, if he had gone modest, suddenly he brings everything into a 2-shot range and doesn't even need Life Orb. So, in my head, yes, he wants the fast Galvantula, because in the end, he's hitting everything guaranteed. But even if I was to look at the Mandibuzz, as long as I'm modest, I know everything's getting 2-shot, and I think I put the same amount of pressure down as if I was running Life Orb, because you don't need modest Life Orb, because I agree with the Thunderbolts, but modest Thunderbolt, to me, if he's gonna do that, will mean that even if Sweet D gets one Calm Mind off on a Galvantula, or on Suicune in a 1v1, or even if a Pokemon comes in to answer Galvantula, I think the modest would have pushed that 10% extra to put more pressure down overall, right? Because if you did modest Bloom Doom, because I think really that low of a roll was not good enough for him to run this type of thing, right? If you're going to do that, you might as well run Life Orb, but just take the chance you don't die. Because it's 75% plus the sand. Yeah, so like you just take the chance you're going to kill. Bloom Doom with Modest is 97 to 114. I like that amount of damage. Percentage, for those of you who don't know what numbers I'm brilling off. That percentage is much more, oh my god, he would have rolled the lowest, than going with Timid and only having a 4% chance to kill. Or of the spectrum, a 4% spectrum of it. Now you've got only a 3% you don't kill. So that's only the really thing I need to see into. I could be wrong because maybe he's trying to match the speed of Terrakion, and maybe he's trying to do that. But then if he wants to go with that, then I would still go Thunder, because that's just a lot more damage, and he has Energy Ball anyways, right? And it's like, it's just like, what was the purpose of the Galvantula? I saw it as taking down the threats that he was going to struggle with. He couldn't touch Hippowdon well, he couldn't touch Suicune well. He just wanted something else that, if that Swords Dance Mienshao didn't work, I think Modest would have been a better call here. But again, that's hindsight police. We in the moment, he still has the speed, which is what he wants against something like the Terrakion and things like that. So it's difficult to say. So because then the role of the Galvantula changes depending on where it starts and what it does. So in the end, I think the build was fine. I do think, however, the construction of the Pokemon itself around the build did not match what it could have done if the rest of the team was going to do anything. Because in the end, no matter how well this Galvantula did, he played really hard with the Alomomola around the Suicune.
Listen, I'm still on the Galvantula thing. No, I agree with you. I think that he had the right idea for the build, but in hindsight. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think in the end, it really, Sweet Tea played around with the Blissey really well. Because the Hippowdon lived and everything else like that, Sweet Tea just had good pivoting. This is how he wins, right? He makes sure that you can't break his walls. And what made this matchup the most interesting is they both relied on their walls. The difference is, you have one wall which carries Seismic Toss, right? Which does a lot of damage to other walls if you're not breaking back, because you actually mentioned before we started the podcast about the Photon Geyser nonstop from Necrozma firing off. So when you don't have as many answers to take on the defensive wall, that's where you just start to fall apart. And you saw it in Game 1 especially, because my question during the battle was, well, he has Mienshao. What's his win condition? He's got a Alomomola, he's got a defensive Necrozma, he's got an Arcanine, which I don't think is offensive, he's got a Togekiss, which could be offensive, and I'm like, is it Nasty Ball? And then he pulls out the Swords Dance Mienshao. I go, oh, I forgot about that. And I'm like, okay, Galvantula does damage, but knowing how much damage was going to need to set up and work with, that's where I go, Modest Galvantula. That's where I go, okay, he needed more to scare Sweet Tea out to get that Mienshao in. But Sweet Tea bringing in a very wise Protect on the Suicune, knowing that the high jump kick would be super valuable on the Suicune. That's where I think, in the end, when it came down to both of them building their teams, Sweet Tea had the upper hand in kind of that chess game of predictions that happened before each series.
The mind games were definitely real in this match. Diego did end up winning that matchup with those mind games, I think. I think that's what carried it through.
Oh, yeah. And they both were doing it, right? They were both actually, there were even times where Ivan was getting the Pokemon he wants in to manage how he's going to try and get through. But again, with the drafts and with the Pokemon that were on the team, Diego just kind of has a higher value team from just stock Pokemon. So as well as Ivan was doing, looking just pushing everything else aside and just kind of finalizing what we talk about this, pushing, all of that aside, they both played into each other's minds and they were going with it. And in Game 2, you really saw it because now he was aware of the Protect. Because he did use Protect in Game 1. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. So I'm just trying to remember when he actually revealed. I'm pretty sure it was Game 1, which is why we didn't see him go for as many Grass Knots, but again, it's the same crapshoot you're going to try for, because Grass Knot's not doing a lot, and you're going to get blasted really hard back from the Mienshao when you're going up against the Suicune. So you still have to go for the high jump kick and just risk the 50% damage, because otherwise it's like you're just not doing enough. He's going to set up and just destroy you even harder. So that's where it got really interesting to see that. I think Ivan went for the right moves for the most part. Maybe not the right switches, but he definitely went for the right moves and tried his best to make what he was going to make work happen like that.
Oh, definitely.
It was a good series.
It really was. I was on the edge of my seat most of the time.
You should just sit back in your chair then.
Maybe I will.
Do it. Oh no. Oh no, now your audio is going to be even lower, and I'm going to get yelled at by another editor saying, Gamma's too low.
I'm over here now.
He's on the moon. Live action right now of Gamma flying up into space. Oh no, he forgot his helmet.
Up and away. No, but yeah, that was definitely a good series.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm glad that it pretty much met expectations and a little more, because they both did unique things that were going to try and get them advantages, and when one comes out on top, well, that's Pokemon. Pokemon's not really that competitive a game. Anyway, second series of the day was the Golden State Greninjas versus the Traverse City Thunderous. This was a 2-0 in favor of Sharking of the Traverse City Thunderous, and for World Leader of the Greninjas, you know, this was the highlight series overall for me of the entire week. This was cool to watch.
Oh, it was down to the wire on both of those matches, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think the first game Shark King ended up winning with like 1.5 Pokemon, and then second one I think it was just 1-1 if I remember. But yeah, no, like it was down to the wire. They kept going and just back and forth, constant back and forth, and it's just that's where the action was, and it was really interesting to watch.
They had not even they. World Leader has so much disdain for Alolan Ninetales. I'm pretty sure Gamma shed one manly tear of just like, look at Flash Cannon Empoleon. Because it makes sense, because Empoleon's gonna come in on Alolan Ninetales and be like, you're gonna do nothing. Right? Yeah. You stay in, you're gonna die, which is super funny because most times you just scare them off and that doesn't happen. But to talk about this battle more in detail, I think World Leader actually, this is what I talked about from what happens with him in the other seasons, where at first he looks kind of not the strongest because he's trying to figure out his team and try and build stuff together. But then when he doubles down, and not even doubles down, when he 9 times down on a single strategy on his team, and it's literally to just get rid of one Pokemon's strategy, which is, in this case, a very good strategy to stop, it looked really cool. And it did a lot for him, the best that he could.
Okay, I'm looking back on the second match, and actually, it was down to the wire, but Sharking still had 3 Pokemon left, as well as the Greninjas having 2 Pokemon, but they ended up forfeiting because this Gyarados got super set up. I'm looking at it here. ×2 attack, ×2 speed. That's a double Dragon Dance if I've ever seen one.
The big fallacy is, like I mentioned before, is you don't want to, like, not saying you specifically, but when you're looking at a Pokemon battle, the number of Pokemon left over doesn't determine what sorts of skill level happen, because in the end, Sharking had to play it the best he did, where literally, without Aurora Veil, or with Aurora Veil, he's gonna get down to that point where he just has his sweeper finishing off. And that's exactly what I called at the beginning of these matches. I'm like, if he finishes with Gyarados or Volcarona set up, it's over. In the end, when Sharking set up those final Pokemon, that was it for World Leader. He had nothing to stop that. So, like, in development side, I would honestly say that Game 2, you really saw Sharking shine when he got the Gyarados out at the right time, and World Leader was just running out of options to handle it. And both switches in that series was really good for both of them, because they were trying to make the moves here. He brings in the Pelipper to try and counter the rain in a different way and brings another defensive Pokemon. Sharking also brings out the Rhyperior, kind of predicting that or trying to do that, maybe carrying the moveset. I believe he had Ice Punch on his... he had Ice Punch on his, so as to manage the likes of the Gliscor, to manage the likes of the Mega Aerodactyl. Like, he has Rock Blast for it anyways. But the point being, they both had a plan going into Game 2 specifically, and they're still trying to execute the same plan. Golden Sacred Ninja says, you're not setting up, I'm going to go as hard as I can to stop that little Ninetales, and then I'm going to win with Mega Aerodactyl, because that's what he needed to do, and he would have done it too, right? He would have been fine if the other things didn't set up.
No, yeah.
But because of the skill that you need to play this type of hyper-aggressive team, that's what you want to see. Shark King knowing exactly when to come in to set up to prevent that sweep of the Mega Aerodactyl. So it was really good. Like, it was a really... This is, in my opinion, the epitome of how games ebb and flow. Like, we talk about a MOBA's early game versus late game. This game showed that. This game showed win conditions at different stages in the game. World Leader had to win early. He had to finish him before setting up. But because Shark King pivoted around enough, and he had the Pokemon to kind of switch with Volt Turn and stuff like that, he elongated enough to finally get a Pokemon in when World Leader doesn't have enough options, and he wins. And that is standard Pokemon. Doesn't matter it was a 2-0. It matters that they both played the best that they could to the timing that they had to finish in, and then it ends up like this. And that's generally how it's going to go. If you saw any of these Pokemon fall to a crit, because Pokemon are allowed to say that, or if you saw that maybe he got his hazards up and put more pressure down on this, he, like World Leader, Golden Sacred would have taken a game off of one of the top players in this tournament. And that would have been awesome, because we know World Leader is a very good player, because he plays VGC, so he has a lot of practice in Pokemon. Right? When he brings it to singles, like, this was such a showing. I want to see this every week. He went into the defense. He went into bringing the damage because he was given Mega Aerodactyl. But this also means now you can think about, wow, look how much Mega Aerodactyl did. Maybe time to look at the trade pool and see if I can find another offensive Pokemon like this. Because if he can build that flexibly around this defensive core, I want him to have another hyper-aggressive poke in the back. I should have checked his list here. But, like, this, in my opinion, not the Ludicolo, this is what I want to see. Just this stock, beefy, sword-wielding, just claws in, horn in, sword in, whatever. Brings out the flail. I want to see that Pokemon who just does that role. And other than Aerodactyl, he has Cloyster or Flygon. But it's not a Mega Aerodactyl. So, if he grabs another Pokemon like Mega Aerodactyl in the pool, I don't have the trade pool up, that was stupid of me. But if he grabs another Pokemon like that, I think that's what completes his team. Personally. I really think he could, even if it's a lower tier, if the Pokemon is hyper-aggressively, just disgustingly rams face into opponent, his team seems to build really well around that. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. I think this was but I think this is, I'm going to be honest with you, I think this is one of the best games World Leader's ever played. Personally, I think this is one of his most competitive matches ever.
Yeah, honestly, that's why this is my favorite match this week. Like, straight up, this is the match that I actually remembered, like, fully, because it was just back and forth, like, oh shit, oh shoot, what's up? You know, like, I wasn't expecting it, and I'm very, very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even pleasantly surprised. I'm glad it happened earlier than it usually does, because he does look good near the end. I'm just glad that it didn't take 5 or 6 weeks where he's already down a lot of points. It's like, even if he's losing points, we see World Leader in top form in week 2. I'm really excited to see the rest of the battles. I don't care if he still loses, it doesn't make top 6. That's the type of thing that I like seeing in the ProPokeBowl. You don't have to win to look at your best, right? Like, if you're looking your best, that's what I get excited for. That's my thing. So, good on World Leader. Great on Shark King, of course, to win that. Obviously, like, knowing how to play his way around that helps a lot. And making a hyper-aggressive play is going to be making a good representative for this type of playstyle. So, that's good to see as well. And I think, really, it's going to come down to we need to see an even more defensive team like Ivan's, because he hasn't played Ivan yet. He hasn't played Sweet D yet. He hasn't played Mitchie yet, right? We need him to take on these super defensive teams. Well, Mitchie I wouldn't say is super defensive, but he needs to take on those more defensive teams to see really, like, World Leader had one of the more defensive teams. Now let's see what happens when we give it to teams that have more aggressiveness to put pressure down on the hyper-aggressive team while trying to wall it. So that's what I'm waiting for now, but I think World Leader gave us a good preview of what Shark King's future in this tournament will look like, with teams that might have more value and have more abilities to actively switch to bring aggression. Battle number 3 was the Sarasota Suicunes versus the Miami Milotics. Gamma.
Yes.
We'll go to ignore everything that happened with this. We see the Entei after being traded in, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There was a ton of hate for Salamence built on the side of Jillip of the Miami Melodics team to stop Salamence. Did it play out that way?
Well, seeing the movesets that he gave his Pokemon, I'm pretty sure he was very prepared to take down that Salamence. And if my thing would...
And how many attacks did Salamence actually do?
That's a good question.
I think like 3?
Any.
I think it did 1
Maybe.
corkscrew smash and finished game 2, I think.
Yep. No, yeah, Jillip was definitely prepared for that Salamence. And he did it well. I gotta give it to him.
Yeah, my concern, the only thing that kind of fell flat on his face for it was the fact that Salamence wasn't the star of the show at all. It was the Fire, Water, Grass core that we talked about with your favorite boy, Celatran.
I hate everything.
I think what really, at the end of the day, this became was that Hoopa Unbound was open, and I told you Scarfed Hoopa Unbound is gross, and Hoopa Unbound just cleaned him up.
Oh, yeah.
He did not have a plan. Well, it's not that he didn't have a plan. He had a super tough time breaking through the Fire, Water, Grass core, because that Fire, Water, Grass core does damage and just soaks up the most of the hits that he wants to do, to the point where, as long as, again, this is another one of those situations where you just look at the amount of damage or the amount of Pokemon that are being taken out. Doesn't matter it was a 1-0 in game 1. He just did enough damage where Hoopa Unbound Scarf comes in and cleans up all of them. And then, if not, then the Scarf Heatran comes in and cleans them all up. This was a great team brought up by Gamer.
No, it was very solid. He had what he needed. He had the Firegrass core. He had that Hoopa, which is actually, you are right, it's pretty nasty how good it is with a Scarf.
Yep. It's similar to a Chandelure, right? Chandelure with a Scarf can be gross because of how much damage it does.
Oh, yeah.
Except Hoopa, it doesn't matter about weaknesses. It doesn't matter about weakness when the Pokemon that's going to use the super effective attack is dead, right?
Yeah.
Now, in game number 2, Simipour came out. I want to hear your thoughts on the Simipour switch-in to respond to his Manaphy not working.
Honestly, I don't think it made much of a difference. I feel that they did the same thing they needed to. Honestly, I would have kept the Manaphy in just because of the possibility of, I believe he has Energy Ball on that, if I remember correctly. Oh, no, my Pokepacer everywhere. I'm a mess. There we go.
Damn it, we're speedrunning.
Sorry, no, I know. Oh, he didn't even have it. What the heck am I talking about? Oh, he dropped the Simipour because it had a grass move, I think.
He brought the Simipour because it had a grass move to handle the Mega Blastoise.
Yeah. It could take the hits from Mega Blastoise, and it could also drop that Grass Knot, which Blastoise, I believe, is a pretty heavy Pokemon, if I recall correctly.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
I think it was a... Didn't he use it in the battle? I thought I saw it in the battle. Because I think I was mentioning HP Grass, and then he drops it. There is a point here. Like, there's a couple of other things that we really have to look at. The Giga Drain on the Florge, I think, was supposed to be his kind of like game 1 answer to Mega Blastoise, which is, if you're gonna answer like that, it's like you really need to come up with a different plan, because unless Florge is going for Calm Mind, Giga Drain's not gonna do much to it anyways. Yeah, he could stand out there, but he's thinking very much 1v1. I think I just saw it. Where'd it go? What happened to it?
Yeah, I saw him use the Grass Knot on the Blastoise.
Yeah.
Immediately, so
yeah, like
it's definitely what the call was.
Like, the Giga Drain happened, right? The Giga Drain did stuff, but I don't think, because here's my thought. There wasn't priority on the side of the Sarasota Suicunes. So if Manaphy had just used Z Rain Dance at the correct time, and Mega Blastoise gets smashed by AV, like if that was AV Dynamic Punch, I don't mind the Guts, because that Guts is smart against the Scald, so that does make sense with the Close Combat. Close Combat kind of blows as a result of you having to do that. That's the only risky thing. You got 3 fighting moves you could choose between. Cross Chop, which is the worst of the 3. Dynamic Punch, which has to be run with no guard. That's why I say it's better than Cross Chop, or you have to run Close Combat, which is run with Guts, and then you have to worry about that the defense drops, right? So
Mhm.
what it came down to is he brought in the Simport, which is fine to try and manage everything, but he never got it set up. And on top of that, he knows that the Heatran is scarfed, and he knows the Hoopa is scarfed, and he knows that even if rocks are out, they get one shot.
Yeah.
So my question is, if he had gone for the double speed sweep in the end, with Mega Blastoise out of the way, he sweeps with Manaphy, right?
Hands down.
So in my mind, I think what the takeaway message here is he did not have the answer to Mega Blastoise comfortably. If he had run Manaphy and Simipour, maybe? What would he drop for it? I don't know. Maybe the Floors, but the Floors was tanking a lot of hits, but then he also knew that the Steelium Z on the Salamence existed, and maybe you drop them a Champ because it's not getting anything done. Like, you could get stuff done against the Heatran. I don't know. It's tough to call because all the Pokemon he had answered all the other Pokemon well, except that Blastoise actually just got a bit too much value than I think everyone expected. Because I didn't expect it, but I'm looking at Firewire Grass Core that can soak up hits and deliver them back too, right? That's your best situation for those types of super well-designed type switches. So I personally think like the double speed almost had to happen. And I don't think it's a big deal that he ran Tail Glow with it, but the more you say it, it's like, you know what, maybe that double speed would have just been enough to win with Energy Ball, Ice Beam, and Surf. Although, I'd have to Gamma cover for me. Finish off the things while I do one quick damage calc.
What am I supposed to finish off? Oh god.
Finish it. Go. Go.
Yeah. It was an interesting match. I feel that oh god. No.
You got
my
this,
head's
Gamma.
Exploding.
So many energy surging through his
brain.
brain.
It all came down. It all came down to the Grass Water Core. He knew when to switch out. He had what he needed. And I think that's how the game. That's how the game went. How it did. That's it. That's all I got. I'm sorry.
Gamma, you disappoint me. I'm kidding.
He's muted. Oh god.
I'm not muted. Who's muted? I'm muted. I thought I unmuted. Let me get a quick damage calc going here because I want to see something.
Okay.
Again, this seems to be the week where we can look at movesets and be like, if this situation was thought out, we go from here like this. So let's see. In the rain. Ooh, God. It's already not looking good. In the rain. Yeah, okay. Yeah, alright. Depending on when that was going to happen. So I just wanted to see if Manaphy could actually 2-hit KO Mega Blastoise. And the answer is yes, but he's +3 in rain. So, and actually, yeah, he gets Mega Blastoise. Never mind. So, like, Surf +3 versus this Mega Blastoise, which was actually max HP, max special attack, which makes sense. What am I saying? I don't know why I said it that way. But Surf +3 does 56 to 66%. So it is a 2-shot.
Yeah.
And the most damage, which is not minuscule, the most damage that it could deliver back is with Aura Sphere, which is 43 to 51%. So here's my take, though. It doesn't matter. If he goes Modest, he's still 2-shotting, but I feel like what we saw was the best that Jillip of the side of the Milotics could do. We just needed to see more answers to that Firewater Grass Core. And it's hard to answer if your team doesn't have it, if you don't bring the right Pokemon for it. But we also can't just go back and be like, yeah, well, now that we know what the build of Firewater Grass was, I would have done this. It's too late, right? You have to just accept that it happened and you move on from there. Simple as that. That's all. Not a big deal. I think it was still a really good series, and in the end, Gamer showing that he's not defeated after week 1. He's going to be looking still fine in this tournament. Fourth match, our series of the week. Ludo Cresselis versus Todd Skyrim Howard. Tyler Poke Trainer's debut in this tournament for the first time because he had the week 1 bye. And he 2-0s. Soto Dude, who was looking really good against Sweet D the week before. Let's talk about this one, Gamma. What do you got for me?
What have I got for you? Oh boy. What I've got for you. I'm brain farting. New help.
Just air it out. Air it out.
Air it out.
Soto Dude had a Trick Room team. He had a Trick Room team.
Yeah.
And
it works out a lot with the Chandelure and the Laurentis.
Mm-hmm.
And actually Primarina's pretty slow too, so it helps out a lot. So that works out. No, it was a well put together team, and I think he did pretty decent with the trick room. I remember seeing it go off a decent amount of times, and it definitely helped him with the speed priority on that.
Did it, Gamma? Did it?
I mean, it did, but I know he still ended up losing, but I thought it was well thought out.
That shaman alone dismantled Todd Skyrim Howard.
Don't even remember. I hate Shaman so much.
That thing alone just put so many headaches into so many people's brains, including Soto dudes, because this is the way I see it, right? Tyler Poke, trainer of the Lunar Chrysalias, had so much against Todd Skyrim. This is almost like a my draft beats your draft situation, where the stuff that was seen in Game 1, Tyler Poke pretty much had the advantage with every single Pokemon. Yes, Todd Skyrim Howard could hit things, Soto could hit things super effectively. Yes, that Lurantis would have actually swept at a certain point with the likes of Contrary and Superpower. It could have done a lot. He needed Mega Pidgeot out of the way, he needed Shaman out of the way, and both of those did as much as they could to literally scoop up at least one game, if not two.
No, they held the battle. That was the main core. If he wasn't, the fact that he couldn't get rid of those two Pokemon, that's what spelled his doom. Even with the Trick Room tactics and playing that out well, it's just they're really strong Pokemon, especially against his team.
And you have to actually give Soto Dude credit, because I think that switch into the Mega Ampharos out of the Cobalion is a wise play, but at the same time, I have to question, because I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. He brought in another Pokemon that's still weak to Shaman anyways, and I get, because the one thing that you do get out of Cobalion over the Mega Ampharos is you're gonna outspeed naturally with the Cobalion, and the super defensive nature of Shaman and all this other stuff was just destroying him. He didn't have enough Pokemon to tank up the moves that it used, right? This Mega Pidgeot, the Mega Pidgeot and the Shaman just got immense value, and it's kind of sad to see. It's kind of sad to see for Soto Dude, but really cool to see that Tyler Poke essentially recognized this was what he needed to win with. And as a result, it's like, yeah, well, he's going to win because of that. And you don't have an answer, and you still don't have an answer, so yeah, you just have to roll over and admit defeat, really. It was like, yeah, no, this is what Tyler Poke did in the preseason, where he just kind of handily won, but mainly because the offensive Pokemon he brought were smart enough to be known to, like, yeah, your team doesn't handle this, even if you make switches, so. Well played by Tyler, and for Soto Dude, the switches and everything else were well, but I really do think it was lost at draft, and that's not necessarily his fault, because you draft for everybody, not just one person.
Yep.
Incredible insight. Incredible insight. Thank you.
I got interrupted.
Your thought was interrupted by more thoughts?
I was interrupted by people knocking on my door.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna tilt you, and I spilt milk on my keyboard.
No! Yeah, I mean, at least it's not Sprite. Last time I did that, my keyboard's still sticking.
Some stay, the keyboard is still sticking today.
It is. It's right here. It's sticking.
Last match of Week 2 was the Las Vegas Golden Lucarios versus the Fortnite Ninjas. We did preface this with a giant, with a noticeable skill gap that we were talking about the entire time, and we did question what sorts of ways Coma was going to try and gain advantages in this series. And really, to keep this just with the pure statistics, to keep it just straight down to earth, what we saw in front of us, Mitch dominated Game 1, and then Mitch lucked out in Game 2. Game 2 was not a win. It was an example of what happens when you don't prepare every single Pokemon on your team. when it came down to the Meloetta, I think that's what most people are going to look back on the series and say is the Meloetta build was not there. It was a very awkward build of Normalium Z where it was just 4 normal moves. Koma said after the series, because I did a post-game interview, and he essentially said that he wasn't expecting to bring the Meloetta, which in my mind was a bizarre choice, but it's, again, if that's what he reads as part of it, that's partially that skill gap I was talking about, but at the same time, looking at what a Specs Meloetta or even Z Celebrate Meloetta wasn't even a halfback call. I forgot that thing got Celebrate. But making those types of calls really did put him in that pigeonhole, but then all of a sudden it's like, well, if he had even just built a normal Meloetta, all of a sudden he's like, oh, wow, hey, just similar to the Scizor with Ice Cold. He didn't expect it, and he's not playing it like it's a win condition. Now all of a sudden he plays it like, oh, wow, I won game 2 against an Ish. He could have did the same thing here against a Mitchie, who admittedly took the showboating so far and just kind of gave Koma like 4 opportunities in one single match to take it off, but the advantages were lost. He didn't have the moveset that he needed. He didn't have a psychic move on his Meloetta, so he didn't win because of that. The Snorlax didn't set up all the way and try and tank it out and just leave it up to Hacks. Didn't heal at the right times. And this is when we talked about in the beginning of the season, if you would recall, Gamma, where just getting a strong team doesn't necessarily mean you know how to use it. And I think this was a big example of admittedly both sides being kind of reckless with what they did. They both made plays. Mitchie forgetting the Z Crystal. He pulled on me, for God's sake, right? Like, this is a big example of you can have really strong drafts, and then when you go and play it out, yeah, you might see less issues on one side versus the other, but it demonstrates that, yeah, Pokemon's a bad game for competitive, but if you still don't know the mechanics, it will throw you even harder for a loop because every turn counts.
No, now I remember this match. This match, Girder freaking pulled so much weight. It's still a little tilting because the Meloetta could have been huge. The fact that if it had a fighting and a psychic move like it should have, in my personal opinion, it could have swept at least 2/3. That I can math. 2/3 of Mitchie's team could have taken out the Conkeldurr, the Girder, the
Gengar.
I can use words. The Gengar, and it could have done decent damage to the Fortress, even with the fighting. I know it's like neutral damage. It could have done decent damage though.
I mean, the Fortress isn't really the concern. If it was running,
it's not a concern.
Psychic and Shadow Ball, that's the whole team. That's the whole team, right? Minus Fortress, but done. He has other things for the Fortress.
Yeah.
So, not even just looking at what's super effective, but just looking at the moves that you can use, whether it was a Combine Meloetta. Like, I think actually, because Combine Feeny we saw in Game 2 do a bunch of damage, right? That was literally the what happened on the side of the Fortnite Ninjas to let this happen. And again, he said he didn't expect it. He didn't expect a Combine Feeny, and that was going... That's what I wanted Koma to accomplish, is build a set that catches him off guard. That's how you win against these players, right? You see Ivan do it all the time. Admittedly not like it is a coin flip most times, but when he does it at the right times for Ivan, it happens. The same thing with Koma. It's like, if you do it at the right times, you win. Because the players would be like, oh, I didn't expect you to go that aggressive. I didn't expect you to go that defensive. I didn't expect you to go set up there. Like, when you get that sight and oversight, and really I'm kind of actually surprised he overlooked that, because there's a reason he says that, but he has Psyshock on his Slowking, and I'm sure there's multiple reasons that he did that to take out other Pokemon or whatever damage he was going to do, but other than that, Feeny, I guess because Gengar would handle Feeny, it does a lot of damage with that Moonblast as well. So
I'd like to make a little shout out to Koma. He ended up picking up that recycle Snorlax I talked about. So good on you for that. I'm sorry it didn't work out as well as I had hoped to, but that Toxic really did a number on that. It kind of ruins the set, to be honest.
And there were also adaptations that happened with that recycle Snorlax. We saw that we did not see a similar issue, because we've seen this before. Against Mitch, specifically, right? Against Mitch, not regardless of the player. We've seen this before, where people kind of fall into this trap of exchanging hazards. But like, you gotta realize, in the seasons that he does all this hazard stuff, he's always had a super safe Pokemon or two that can set up hazards without punishment, especially when you're not going to defog him. I think that's what Mitchie really expected. I think he expected just a defog on the Feeny. That's why the Feeny was brought. So he didn't see maybe he didn't see that defog coming. He just thought it was going to be aggressive. It didn't expect to keep all his hazards up. But when you're exchanging hazards with these guys, it's like, why do you sit out there and try and manage the Fortress with a Klefki? Game 1 was a huge oversight for that. Game 2, we see a much more aggressive lead, tries to just handle it a little bit better, admittedly still doesn't have a real Pokemon unless it was Feeny to come out and handle all that. I think that's why the Tentacruel also kind of came in, because he's like, hey, now I have a spinner. Which really, when you see Tentacruel come in with Feeny, I would have questioned, like, wait a minute, why is he bringing in his spinner when he's got a defogger? That would have clicked in my mind, but again, Mitch getting comfortable, not even considering, because it might not be the biggest consideration, but it is a consideration when you're playing characters that have mystery choices behind them. You know, you could be kind of wild like that and win in this tournament because of the format. So I don't know. There's a lot of this series itself was
anything can happen. New anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this kind of, like, this whole series as just an example of how sour a Pokemon match can go when you still don't play to the mechanics properly and try and just show that power will win, skill will win. It's like, luck can happen, random movesets can happen, and you still can lose if you misplay at the wrong time. And I think it showed it on both ends for both coaches. So maybe Coma and Mitch both need to get more sleep. Maybe they really it will cull a bit of Mitch's ego, I'm going to say, cuz it was fairly egotistic to do that, to be honest. Like, it's not sugarcoating it. You saw it, especially in game 2, right? The kind of, like, really big mistakes that you would not expect from him, makes those enormous mistakes, and in the end almost bit him in the butt. And if you're going to drop a game, especially when you saw Sweet Tea already lose a match early on in the season, if you're trying to stay at the top and you lost a match today, it doesn't matter who you lost to, but if you're losing to a point and the reason you lost the point is because of carelessness, that takes a lot of wind out of your sails as being the top player and being a former champion, right? Especially being the most recent former champion in this particular metagame. That, I mean, it's not the same tiering that you saw in Season 4, so it's still different enough. But that's a really big, like, everyone's going to be going, what happened? Regardless of the opponent.
Yeah.
My hands are in the air.
Yay.
I now wash my hands of Week 2.
It's gone. It's out of here. It's history.
It won't scrub off, Gamma. Hey!
Put it in the ProPokeBooks. It's done.
Put my hand in the ProPokeBook. Ow! It hurt. Why would you tell me to do that?
I don't know.
Fool! Gamma, it is show me your moveset time. We have to speedrun.
Oh,
we have to speedrun.
Yes.
So this is what's going to happen.
Let's go.
Yeah, so this is what's going to happen. We're both going to say the movesets at the exact same time. We're going to see who gets it first. We're both at 9 points. We're still going to get the same point system. I'm going to tell you right now, I have to hide my ability, but
that's fine.
We're going to say them at the exact same time. Okay, ready?
Okay.
This is going to be a giant ear mess over for many people.
Oh boy, let's go.
Okay, you got all the information, right?
I have my moveset and
tier?
and what tier.
Okay, let me just, I'm going to quickly double check the tier for your sanity. Just to make sure I did it last night, but who knows?
Please do. Please, I'm begging you. Go ahead. Please do.
We're good. Okay.
Okay, you sure?
Yes.
Sure
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Go.
Okay, so
you think I was actually gonna say it at the same time as you?
I don't know. All right, real quick. Okay, here's the moveset I got.
Yeah.
It's Psyshock, Power Gem, Earth Power, Rock Polish, and its ability is Levitate.
Psyshock, Earth Power, what else?
Rock Polish.
Earth Power. And
Power Gem.
Power Gem.
It's a PU set.
Necrozma?
No.
Oh, it doesn't get Levitate. I'm a fool. Levitate with those. Power Gem Psyshock. PU pool, assemble. PU filter, assemble. Not for the Pokemon, I just need to see the list.
Oh, yeah.
Psyshock Power Gem. Earth Power?
Rock Polish. I didn't even think of Necrozma.
I said it out of a whim, but I'm like, I just thought of moves that were gems or rocks, and then it doesn't. I just skipped over the fact it doesn't have Levitate. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Well, this Pokemon's very similar to another one, moveset and ability-wise. So,
What?
I believe they're in the same tier.
I don't think Electros gets Psyshock or Power Gem. What the heck has Levitate and uses that?
I said PU. You heard PU, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Electros is PU. You're not doing parenthesis PU, are you?
No, this is PU.
Okay.
Let me double check.
Is it Claydol?
Oh, check parenthesis PU.
Oh no!
Are you kidding me? It says PU on Smogon.
Oh no!
Yeah.
This could take forever. Okay, here we go. Parenthesis PU.
But Claydol was pretty close. That's the one that I thought you were gonna say it was.
Oh no! Because I'm like, I don't think that even gets rock. I don't think that gets Power Gem. That's where I'm getting confused.
It doesn't. That's why. That's what's supposed to throw you off.
I'm just spitting random Pokemon. I'm not giving up on this. I can figure this out.
All right. So
Psyshock, Power Gem,
right
Earth Power, Soul Rock.
Yes, and Rock Power. Yep. No, wait, no, it's not.
No, is it Lunatone?
Yep.
I don't know why I said Soul Rock. I don't know why I'm just like, it's the sun. He's going for the sun. No, he goes for the stupid moon, which is the cooler one anyways.
Yep. It is. It's got a little duck mouth. Wait.
Did you like my Lunatone drawing last week? My brown banana on a diet.
I never want to play Scribbly with you again. All right, hit me. We got.
I don't know how many points I got. This is all falling apart. Here we go.
I'll give you 1 point. You get 1 point.
I get 1 point? Oh, now you're gonna go ahead because mine's super easy.
All right, I'll give you 2 points. I'll give you 2 points because if I gave you the hint of trumpets, then I would have taken it down to 1 point.
If you give me the hint of what?
Trumpets, Gen 3, you ding dong.
Oh, I'm like, what the heck does trumpets have to do with anything? Got it. Okay,
right.
It's a NU Pokemon because I'm nice to you and I want to see you win. And luckily, this game is like, whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter. Power Whip, Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Knockoff, and it's a choice band.
Power Whip, Heavy Slam. Power Whip, Heavy Slam. What else?
Earthquake, Knockoff.
Torterra?
NU Pokemon? That's an NU. Oh yeah, it is an NU Pokemon around. No, it's not.
No, it's not Torterra.
I believe Torterra does not get Power Up. It gets Woodhammer, which really hurts it. Don't you go I see you typing. Don't you filter. You cheat.
Right,
you freaking cheater.
I'm not. You
should be in the NU tier. You did this last time to me. You're going to give me 2 points?
Hold on.
I'm going to give you 2 of these.
Hey.
They're middle fingers for those who can't see. I forgot we're not on camera.
Hey, calm down. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. Power Whip. I'm trying to think. Could you repeat the moveset real quick? Because I forgot.
Power Whip.
Already.
Heavy Slam.
Oh, wait. Oh, I know what it is. It's freaking Delmise.
Yes. I can't tell you it has Steelworker because then it's just like, oh, Delmise.
That would have been giving it away.
Yes.
I can understand that. It's Delmise.
Because the other move that you can run instead of Heavy Slam is Anchor Shot. And I'm like, I'm not going to say Anchor Shot, but the moveset literally says Heavy Slam's viable.
Yeah. Okay. Yay!
Okay, what...
I didn't filter it out, I promise.
But you did guess Torterra.
I did.
You did recklessly guess. But your guesses were less than mine, but I also made it easier. What is the weighting of the... Fine, Gamma, you get 3 points because I like you.
No, you can give me 2. It's okay.
No, you can get 3 points. Because now I can get more of the sympathy points with me literally working with the wrong tier and I got burned the same, but I'll take the brunt for being the instigator to it. So Gamma leads. Now he's just got like this stupid smile of, I'm winning, on his face. Oh, that's a smug face you need later. That's another. Is your channel just gonna be filled with smug faces? It should be.
Maybe.
Like just in multiple anime iterations, or just your face from like different angles of Smug, AmaGamma,
Yeah.
AmaGamma.
Yeah, so
Right.
maybe that works out.
Okay. We have a little bit of time left. The viewers don't know that. We have a very little bit of time left.
Yep.
Let's really quickly preview next.
Alrighty.
Why didn't you choose a different day? No. So let's really preview week 3. Now that we've seen everybody battle, let's take a look at these matches, and let's just kind of go off of first impressions, see what we've got, and let's start that off with the Manchester Manectric. I have them organized in the coaches sheet. Let's go with the Manchester Manectric versus Lunar Cresselia. This would be Ivan versus Tyler Poke.
Yes. So I am interested in seeing this match. I feel that Ivan does have the upper hand now that maybe, hopefully, he's gone back to the drawing board and is working on those move sets, getting everything he needs done. But Tyler has got some pretty good Pokemon, and I think his match last week is a great morale booster.
You know what this looks like to me?
What?
Tyler feels like Ivan when he entered the season, when he started like doing really well in the seasons, where he's just kind of like this surprise random name that suddenly starts making his own name in ProPokeBowl. So it's kind of like it's like a successor. It's like a younger Ivan, except doesn't use as many, doesn't go as unique. It's just like young Ivan. So it's gonna be like father vs son sort of thing. Again, I don't know.
Okay.
But you know, to go more objectively, I do actually think Ivan has the upper hand in terms of Pokemon on the team. The Nidoqueen, Galvantula. Where's the third one I called? For the bans, by the way, we should talk about bans and trades. I completely forgot to do that. We'll talk about when we get there, but the ban against Manchester United was the third time Kieran Black against the Lunar Cresselias. They did lose the Pidgeot.
Oh, boy.
I believe, did I call that wrong?
No,
they lost the Pidgeot. Why don't I have that pulled up for me? I could have swore I had that pulled up for me. Regardless.
I think they're going to be stuck with the Mega Venusaur this time unless they want to keep the same moveset they had from last week.
Mega Venusaur?
That's the only other Mega option they have.
He doesn't have Venusaur. World Leader has Venusaur.
Wait. Oh, wait. Am I messing this up? Oh,
yeah, no. He has the Manectric.
Fraud.
He has Manectric.
I'm a fraud.
That's okay. Don't worry. It happens.
Mega Manectric. Oh, that's actually a pretty decent Mega Pokemon, though. No,
well,
yeah, that could do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Except there's no Noob.
What?
Noob, you lied to me. There's no Manectric.
What are you talking about?
I'm looking at the Pokepaste.
I don't have Pokepaste for week 3 yet. Look at the teams.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Because he had Manectric banned last week.
I'm a fraud.
Takes 1 week off for retirement, comes back already just already out of sorts.
I'm still dealing with my quarter-life crisis, okay?
No.
Oh,
you can't choose what house to pick in Fire Emblem.
I'm mad about it. Nobody lets me choose. But yeah, no, Manectric is definitely a solid Mega. He's going to do some decent damage with that, I think. I think it'll... Unless he doesn't bring it. Who knows? We'll find out next week.
Yeah, I am favoring... We need to really see the likes of Manectric come out with that Shaman... And what was the third? And Tyrantrum. I think those 3 are going to be the most offensive Pokemon he needs to bring to break. Ivan's defensive core. On the side of the Manchester Manectric, I'm really favoring the Nidoqueen mixed with the Galvantula and the Absol. I think those will both actually matter quite a bit. I had... Oh, what else did I... No, Mienshao. No, Mienshao. It was Mienshao with the Nidoqueen, and something else had good coverage to manage it. They have good against each other in terms of like the offense versus the defense, and... I do think if that Shaman falls and Mega Man starts taking a bunch of damage, you have Zygarde, like Zygarde 10%. I was just looking at it, I'm like, I wonder if Zygarde can kind of sweep. And the answer is it kind of can in certain situations, and depending on what Pokemon's left over. There is a blaring ground weakness that could be exploited depending on what Lunar Cresselia brings. So... If we see Zygarde 10% put in a decent spot, we need to see Galvantula take on that Shaman. We need to see Arcanine try and potentially tank up the Shaman. Because you got to remember, Earth Power plus Seed Flare puts a lot of damage down if you don't have Pokemon to switch in with it. And I don't think Ivan actually has... He has Togekiss as the only person who can comfortably take on most of the offensive moves that Shaman would use if we do see an offensive Shaman again. So, if that Togekiss is taken down, Mega Man and Shaman kind of run wild. If Lunar Cresselia's let Zygarde 10% set up, or if Nidoqueen starts doing too much damage and Absol sets up or something like that. I think this will be a fairly standard match. Take the advantage, go from there. That's all there is to it in my mind. Easy and straightforward.
Alrighty.
Second matchup, which will be the featured matchup of the week. It will be the Traverse City Thunderous versus I Am Groot. Groot getting that double feature matchup spotlight stuff. Traverse City Thunderous did lose their Alolan Muck, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be a recurring theme against Sharking. I Am Groot ended up losing their Suicune, their third unique ban of the series. What do you got for me, Gamma?
What have I got for you?
What do you got for me, Gamma?
I'm looking at the team sheets right now. It looks like a trade's been made on the TC Thunderous.
God bless co-commentators, yes. We did see Traverse City Thunderous trade out the Hydreigon for the Aggron.
It's an interesting trade. I'm not sure. I guess maybe he's trying to go for coverage?
I think he's going for defense.
Really? Maybe. Yeah, I could see that. He doesn't have much defense.
He doesn't have a steel type. And you saw what happens when steel is just kind of used against him. And he doesn't bring something like Starmie or Gyarados as an I mean, he doesn't kill any of his main sweepers. But steel puts a fair amount of pressure down on him. And to get his rocks up, he was relying on Archeops or Rhyperior. It's like, well, what if you just bring something that does a lot more? Now, granted, he did mention it was a tough decision to get rid of Hydreigon, because Hydreigon is a really good Pokemon. It's a really, really good Pokemon that's now in the pool for next week for anybody but him to be able to pick up, because he can't take it back ever again.
Well, you know what? I could see it being a tough decision, but also picking up Aggron was a pretty good decision as well, because it could be Mega Aggron.
It will be Mega
Aggron. I mean, it's either that or Gyarados, but it's definitely probably going to be Mega Aggron, and that's a pretty beefy Pokemon, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Could you think that Aggron would be a tactical bring this time? Because with Filter and the Mega, it would be the best when it comes down to taking out Terrakion or taking out the Lycanroc. Like, could this be a Sweet D timed type of trade?
I think so. Honestly, it's the perfect time for this Aggron to join the team, and it's going to be a great way to hold off on that Lycanroc and Terrakion.
You know what it also sits on?
What?
Superior.
You're right.
Because it can just literally sit on it. Like, yeah, it's got HP Fire, but if it doesn't get a couple of contrary boosts up first, I think it's flattened. I don't know the actual damage calcs on the top of my head, but
it does.
Yeah, it will destroy it. So I think the Aggron makes the most sense, one, against Sweet D, but two, just in his entire team. Even running it non-Mega, you're right, if the Mega Gyarados is going to do better than Aggron. Aggron's just another Pokemon that can Choice Band Head Smash Rockhead and just literally say goodbye to something. We saw that 1 or 2 seasons ago, where the Aggron is just like, bam, and it didn't matter, like something was dead. No matter how much it resisted, it didn't like that Pokemon was not happy with life after it got hit with Head Smash. And it can be that flexible Mega, or you can bring that double Mega and see what situation you're in, because you can still sweep with Gyarados without it being Mega, right? You've got Moxie on it if you still want to get that value, and just Mega if you see it's going to be the winner. So there is that flexibility for him. He still has Defog on his Archeops. If he wants to run Defog, he has the spin on Serena, which might imply he maybe doesn't, unless it calls for it, he might not run Scarf Serena more often, because he might need that anti-hazard support. So it'll be more team dependent, but that means more flexibility for Sharking, which is what, a hyper-offensive team sort of needs.
Yes. Okay.
And for Sweetie, he can stop the sweep. He has priority with stuff like Honchkrow. He has a lot of defensive Pokemon. I think can manage the likes of Volcarona. He's got the Gastrodon to handle the Gyarados. He's got the Blissey to handle the Volcarona. So these sorts of things can be absorbed and be good from there. Sarasota Suicunes versus Golden State Greninjas. Gamer versus World Leader. You get to hear about it, Gamma. The Cinccino is in.
Oh, God.
The Cinccino is in.
Oh my god! Thank you for taking it, so I don't have to keep hearing about it being traded every.
Now
week.
he gets to hear about it every single week with its implications in the metagame.
My god.
Amen, gamer. Okay, Sarasota Suicunes lost their Tornadus. Golden State Greninjas lost their Aerodactyl for the week. if there's any indication of what happens when Aerodactyl's not on World Leader's team, what are you expecting out of this series, Gamma?
I'm expecting a lot of Sincino.
Yes, appease me more. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Sincino actually does a lot against his team, too.
It does.
Well, yeah, minus Empoleon, where it's not going to look the greatest. There is a call, but it gets some value. It's got the speed, but I don't think he actually needs to run it next week. I think what he's been running makes the most sense. It's just my call service. Don't worry, guys. We're really busy here over at ProPokeBowl Industries. Just like to point that out. I'm going to move my mic more this way now.
Yes, it is. All right, done. Speed my best to this.
I think the Hoopa Unbound here, we have to look at the value of the Hoopa Unbound, the Salamence, and I think those two will run through this team if not managed appropriately, especially if it's Scarf. It gets a lot of value. Having said that, though, we saw how World Leader played with a really defensive team and made it work, and if he keeps an option up to go with it, he can do well with it. So I think it's going to be maybe consider Flygon for sweeping outside World Leader, Sarasota Suicunes. Play what you have, use your strength. Yes, you lost Tornadus, but use everything else to your advantage. Fourth match of the week will be the Las Vegas Golden Lucaris versus the Miami Milotics. They didn't ban anything against each other. This was an agreed-upon thing, I think. They were both talking about not doing it. What do you expect from this?
I expect a full-on, all-out brawl and no holds barred. Everything's gonna go crazy, and it's gonna be an interesting matchup. Especially because they're not holding back.
Now that Feeny and Weavile are both unleashed, I need to see what both of them do with it when they just have access to everything. Because Feeny wins that. So I actually think Coma has a lot of Pokemon that destroy Jillip's team. Like, offensively, with the Mega Lopunny, the Scizor, and the Feeny, these Pokemon shut down everything Jillip has defensively. And offensively because they're really fast and threatening. So, Jillip needs to get creative. That Manaphy needs to come out. You need to have Energy Ball. You need to have something to manage it. And if he can get maybe like the Freeze-Dry Cargon or something to manage stuff, I think it's going to be his best option. But really, I actually think Coma has the upper hand here.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Last match of the series, or of the week anyways, the Fortnite Ninjas versus Ice Cold. Mitch versus Anish. There's a lot of trash talk coming out from Anish saying that he will be able to 1-1 Mitch, and he's going to be able to take him on. He has plans. There's a lot of theory crafting going into the back. I don't know. Both these guys are coming off of weeks that they talked really big, and now they've both been brought down to size, kind of, by, yeah, Mitch got his 3 points, but it wasn't very clean. Anish was supposed to lose his whole series, but he actually took a point, but then when he got taken down, both of them actually both being instigated by Coma, so Coma's kind of starting a bit of a tussle between these two. Nonetheless, I don't care. What do you think's gonna happen?
You know what? Is it being hopeful that I think Anish is right? I think they're gonna 1-1.
I think he can. 1-1. There's a lot of fast Pokemon on the side of Mitch's team that he can actually take on. However, I do expect Conkeldurr and Slowking and maybe something along the lines of Spiritomb being somewhat answers to this. He's not gonna completely go against it. Quagsire is gonna be really good against the likes of Mimikyu if it tries to go for Z-Splash or Swords Dance. Anything it tries to set up, he's gonna have Quagsire built for it. I think most of the setup that we look at are physically offensive, so Quagsire excels with that. So if there's not a grass move flying at it, like if Ferrothorn is managed, because he has Rotom Heat, I think Mitch has a fair amount of Pokemon to stop it. But if the Trick Room gets off and he does get in, he can take advantage like that. So it will come down to execution, and it can swing either way, depending on how it goes. Okay, Gamma, finish the speed run. Quick, plug, go.
Twitch.tv/AmaGamma, Pocket Aces stuff, TeamPocketAces.com, Twitter and stuff. It's Muffin! I'd like to shout out Muffin's personal Instagram. I am Muffin, falling apart at 83.
133, what are you talking about? She's old.
Oh, my God. But yeah.
This is a disaster episode of the ProPokeBowl podcast. Every single series that I do has to have a disaster episode. It's my fault, not yours. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to catch all the action for the ProPokeBowl Week 3, August 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over at twitch.tv/ProPokeNoob. That's E, Noob, P-O-K-E, Noob. It's not
Not to be
I.
confused with ProPokeBowl, like with
Or Pocky.
the accordion.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
get
that too.
the accordion. The first thing you think of in polka is the accordion, isn't it? Yeah, I guess you're right. Never mind. What am I saying? But yeah, that's gonna be it for us today. We'll see you for week 3 action. Take care, everybody. Have a great day, and peace.
Later.